It's pretty well known the home market has a busy season. Spring and summer are when most people buy and sell houses. With land, it doesn't work that way. Hey, it's Evan Zener with Metro Land Pro. I'm a realtor licensed in Oregon who assists sellers nationwide. In this video, I'll explain the difference between home and land cycles, why lending standards play such a big role, and other factors that affect the land market. I'll also cover what makes today's cycle unique and what you can do as a landowner to be ready the next time land sales pick back up. Home sales follow a yearly rhythm because it's easier for people to move in spring and summer. The weather is better, school calendars line up, and buyers tend to be more active. That creates a predictable seasonal surge. Even in downturns, housing markets usually recover within a year or two because mortgage conditions tend to ease faster and demand is constant. Life needs like new jobs, more space, or downsizing never stops. And once financing or confidence improves, those pressures bring buyers back quickly. Land is different. Developers buy land based on where they expect the home sale market to be 3 to 5 years out because so much has to happen before a single home is sold. Entitlements, engineering, design, and installing roads and utilities all takes years. Only after the site is fully developed can houses be built, and even then it takes another stretch of time before those homes are ready to sell. Land doesn't follow a spring and summer season like homes. It moves in multi-year waves. Builders often buy aggressively for 2 to 4 years, followed by a quieter stretch. The details behind those shifts, lending, absorption, and costs are what set the pace. How lending sets the pace. The single biggest driver of those waves is lending, specifically construction and land development loans, often shortened to CLD lending. This is the money that funds three things: buying the dirt, doing the studies and entitling the land, and building the improvements that make the site usable. When banks apply stricter lending rules, it ripples through the entire market. They cover less of the costs. In strong markets, banks might finance 75 to 80% of a project. When banks scale back, that can fall to 50% or less, which forces buyers to bring in much more equity or reduce the project's scale. They make it more expensive. Banks can charge higher interests, tack on more fees, and require bigger amounts of money set aside as a safety net. All of that cuts into the project's numbers. They want stronger paperwork. Lenders may expect a property to already have its approvals in place with a clear budget and a believable plan for how quickly homes will sell. They add tighter conditions. This can include requiring the developer to personally guarantee the loan, meaning putting their own assets on the line if the project fails, along with tougher loan terms and more frequent reviews if the market shows signs of risk. Here's what that looks like in practice. A builder planning 60 lots may only get financing that covers half the total cost. So instead of moving forward with all 60 at once, they may only get funding for 30 and build in phases. To cover the rest, they might arrange phased payments or reserve the right to buy the remaining lots later. The result is a longer timeline. That's how stricter CLD lending makes land cycles stretch out even when demand exists. Other factors that slow land sales: approvals and entitlements. Even in cities with a straightforward process, projects often face reviews tied to things like access, utilities, traffic, or environmental factors. Each step adds time, and whenever officials have discretion, meaning they can add or debate conditions, the timeline can stretch from months into years. Lot pipeline management. Builders do not want hundreds of finished lots sitting idle because every month those lots cost money in property taxes, interest on loans, and maintenance without bringing in revenue. To avoid that, they buy land in phases that match the pace of home sales. Instead of purchasing all the lots at once, they commit to smaller batches over time. If homes are selling quickly, they'll purchase the next batch sooner. If sales slow, they delay the next purchase until the existing homes are absorbed by the market. Absorption and margins. Absorption is the rate at which homes in a subdivision are sold. A subdivision only works if that rate is strong enough to keep cash flowing and cover costs. When sales slow, the flow of land slows with it. Builders might offer incentives like covering closing costs or trimming prices to keep sales moving, but if homes don't absorb fast enough, their profits decline. And when margins tighten, builders pull back on buying land because they don't want to add lots that they can't build on and sell homes from quickly enough. Weak absorption directly stalls new land deals until sales regain momentum. Cost and policy. Labor, materials, impact fees, energy codes, and offsite requirements often rise faster than home prices. When that happens, the added expenses cut directly into a builder's profit margin. Because land values aren't locked in like labor or material costs, land is usually the first place builders cut. The higher the costs, the less they have to pay for the land. On top of that, policy changes like new environmental rules, higher system development charges, or updated building codes can raise costs overnight, adding even more pressure. Each increase cuts into profitability, which leaves fewer projects that make financial sense and makes builders more cautious about buying land until conditions improve. Extra pressures in each cycle. Beyond those main drivers, every cycle has its own set of unique variables. Things like demographic shifts, labor shortages, policy changes, or even global events can add friction to the timeline. They don't always appear in every cycle, but when they do, they shape how fast or slow land deals move. What makes today's cycle different? Each cycle looks a little different depending on the mix of pressures at the time. To give you a sense of how that plays out, here's what the land market has looked like in the past couple years. First, the lock-in effect. Millions of owners locked in mortgage rates well below current levels, often under 3%. Selling would have meant giving that up, so many chose to stay put. As a result, resale inventory remains unusually low, which leaves buyers competing over fewer listings and keeps prices firm. Builders have added new homes to meet some of that demand, but they remain cautious about buying more land and starting too many projects at once, which directly affects the pace of land deals. Second, lending has become more selective than in past cycles. Banks and private lenders still fund strong projects, but they pass on weaker ones. That means fewer buyers chasing land today, and buyers only move ahead if the deal shows a safe profit. Third, finished lots are unusually scarce in many submarkets. Development slowed when rates spiked in 2022 and 2023, so fewer new lots came online. That backlog continues to make well-positioned sites more valuable, but it also means negotiations take longer and buyers push harder on terms when considering raw land. Fourth, uncertainty continues to be a drag. From interest rate policy to global tensions, builders face more unknowns than in past cycles. When the future feels less predictable, both builders and lenders take fewer risks. That hesitation slows land purchases, even in markets with strong housing demand. And beyond these main points, other pressures also shape the market. Tariffs on lumber, steel, and other materials keep some construction costs higher than they would be otherwise. Permits and reviews move slowly in many cities, labor shortages make it harder to build quickly, and insurance costs keep climbing in some areas. None of these are the main factors, but they still add friction to the timeline. What you can do now. The land market moves in multi-year cycles. It's smart to get ahead by preparing your property now, learning as much as you can about its potential and clearing up issues that could slow down a future sale. That could mean scheduling an early sit down with the city, often called an early assistance meeting or something similar, cleaning up access rights, resolving title problems, or even starting an annexation. The fewer hurdles left in place, the faster your property can move when demand returns, and the more valuable it becomes to a buyer who doesn't have to take on that work themselves. Key takeaways: homes have seasons, land has windows, lending sets the tempo. Approvals, lot pipelines, absorption, and costs keep the rhythm slow. The key is preparing your property now so it's ready to move when the next window opens. If you're a landowner and want to understand how these market cycles could affect your property, or what steps you can take now to make your land more attractive when the next buying window opens, I can help. If you'd like to talk about your land, email me at evan@metrolandpro.com or visit www.metrolandpro.com. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you gave a like and subscribed. It helps the channel grow, and it makes sure you don't miss any future videos. I'm Evan Zener with Metro Land Pro, and I help landowners sell smarter and unlock the full value of their land.